Have you ever popped last night's leftovers into the microwave without a second thought, thinking you're saving time and avoiding waste? Maybe it's that container of spinach soup sitting in your fridge or the leftover rice from dinner. You press those buttons, hear that familiar hum, and think you're being practical, even caring. What if I told you that simple habit could silently be putting your health or your elderly parents' health at serious risk? I know that sounds dramatic, but hear me out. For older adults, what they eat and how they reheat it can literally be the difference between thriving and facing serious health setbacks like cancer, memory loss, or even early cognitive decline. Their bodies aren't as resilient as they once were. Their immune systems aren't fighting battles the way they used to. And that innocent act of reheating food? It could be introducing toxins and bacteria that their bodies simply can't handle anymore. You see, we've all been taught that leftovers are safe as long as they smell okay, right? That heating food kills all the bad stuff? That's what our parents told us, what we've always believed. But science has shown us something different, something that could change how you think about food safety forever. Today, I'm going to reveal 5 everyday foods that may seem completely harmless when they're sitting in your refrigerator. Doctors and food safety experts have been warning about these dangers for years, yet many families still do this daily, unknowingly putting their loved ones at risk. I want you to watch until the very end, because I'm also going to share exactly how to reheat safely and protect the people you care about most. Have you ever felt that nagging uncertainty about whether it's really safe to reheat food for an elderly loved one? Maybe you've wondered if you're being overly cautious, or maybe you've worried you're not being careful enough. Type "I'm here" in the comments if you want to learn how to make smarter, safer food choices at home. Because that's exactly what we're going to do together today. Don't forget to hit subscribe and tap that notification bell for more elder care tips from Elder Wisdom, because your family's health matters and you deserve to have all the information you need to keep them safe. Food number 1. Reheated spinach. Picture this: Sarah, a devoted daughter, has been caring for her aging father since her mother passed away. She's trying to get him to eat healthier, so she makes a beautiful spinach soup on Sunday, packed with nutrients, full of love. Monday comes around, and there's still half a pot left. She thinks, perfect, Dad needs his vegetables. So she reheats it in the microwave and serves it with a smile, thinking she's being helpful, caring, responsible. But what Sarah doesn't know is that she might actually be doing more harm than good. Here's what happens when you reheat spinach. Spinach naturally contains compounds called nitrates. Now, nitrates aren't inherently dangerous. They're actually found in many healthy vegetables. But here's the problem: when spinach is reheated, especially in a microwave, those nitrates convert into nitrates. And nitrates? They can form nitrosamines in your body, compounds that have been linked to cancer and serious neurological issues. Think about that for a moment. The very vegetable you're serving to boost your loved one's health could be introducing cancer-causing compounds into their system. For an elderly person whose body is already working harder to fight off illness and disease, this isn't just concerning, it's potentially dangerous. Now, I know what you're thinking. But vegetables are always healthy, even the next day. That's what we've been told our whole lives, isn't it? But that's not true when they're reheated incorrectly. The truth is, some foods change their chemical composition when they're heated multiple times. So what can you do? If you absolutely must reheat spinach, do it only once and use low heat. Avoid the microwave entirely, use your stovetop instead, and heat it gently. But honestly, the safest approach is to cook spinach in smaller portions, so you don't have leftovers in the first place. Your loved one's health is worth that extra bit of planning. But spinach isn't the only danger lurking in your refrigerator. Another surprising one is probably sitting in your fridge right now, and it's something almost every household has. Food number 2. Reheated rice. Leftover rice is practically a household staple, isn't it? We make a big pot, use what we need, and save the rest for tomorrow. It seems so innocent, so practical. But did you know that people have actually landed in the emergency room from eating reheated rice? I'm talking about real people, real families, real medical emergencies. Here is what happens. When rice is cooked and then left out, even for just a couple of hours, it can develop bacteria called Bacillus cereus. Now this bacteria is sneaky. It doesn't change the smell of the rice, doesn't make it look different, doesn't give you any warning signs. And here's the really scary part. These bacteria create spores that can survive reheating. Even when you think you're heating that rice to a safe temperature, those toxins are still there waiting to cause problems. For an elderly person, this can mean serious food poisoning, severe gut inflammation, dehydration, and in some cases, hospitalization. Their bodies simply can't bounce back from food poisoning the way a younger person's can. What might make you feel sick for a day could put them in the hospital for a week. But here's the misconception that trips up so many people: microwaving kills all bacteria. I've heard this countless times, and it's simply not true. Some bacteria create heat-resistant toxins that reheating won't destroy. That microwave might make your rice hot, but it's not making it safe. So how do you protect your family? First, cool rice quickly after cooking. Don't let it sit out on the counter. Get it into the refrigerator within 1 hour. When you do reheat it, only reheat it once and make sure it's steaming hot throughout. If you're even a little unsure about how long it's been sitting out, throw it away. It's not worth the risk. I know it feels wasteful, but think of it this way. The cost of throwing away a cup of rice is nothing compared to the cost of a hospital visit or the pain of watching your loved one suffer from food poisoning. And now let's talk about an everyday favorite that's surprisingly risky when reheated. Food number 3. Reheated potatoes. Let me tell you about Margaret, an 82-year-old grandmother who lived alone but was fiercely independent. One morning, she decided to reheat some mashed potatoes left over from the night before for breakfast. Nothing unusual there. She'd done it hundreds of times. But by afternoon, she was feeling nauseated, dizzy, and confused. Her daughter found her that evening, disoriented and weak. Could it really be the potatoes? The answer is yes, it absolutely could be. When potatoes are cooked and then stored at room temperature for too long, they can develop Clostridium botulinum, the bacteria that causes botulism. Now, botulism is rare, but it's also potentially fatal, especially for older adults. This bacteria thrives in low oxygen environments, like the inside of a wrapped potato or a covered dish of mashed potatoes. Here is what makes this so dangerous. The bacteria don't change the taste, smell, or appearance of the food. Margaret's potatoes probably looked and smelled exactly the same as they always did. There was no warning, no sign that anything was wrong. The misconception that gets people into trouble is this: if it smells fine, it's safe. When it comes to botulism, that's absolutely not true. You can't smell, taste, or see botulism bacteria. They're invisible, odorless, and tasteless. But they can cause muscle paralysis, difficulty breathing, and in severe cases, death. For elderly individuals who may already have compromised immune systems or underlying health conditions, botulism can be particularly devastating. Their bodies don't have the same ability to fight off these toxins. So what's the safe approach? Store leftover potatoes in the refrigerator immediately. Don't let them sit out on the counter, not even for an hour. When you do reheat them, only reheat them once and make sure they're heated all the way through. But honestly, potatoes are best consumed freshly made. The risk just isn't worth it. Still thinking about reheating those potatoes? You may want to rethink it, especially if you're also making this next dish. Food number 4. Reheated chicken. Think about Sunday dinner. A beautiful roasted chicken, family gathered around the table, leftovers that promise easy meals for the week ahead. Monday night rolls around, and that chicken stew from last night sounds like a perfect time saver. You heat it up, serve it to your elderly parent, and feel good about providing a protein-rich meal. But reheating chicken can be tricky and even dangerous for older adults in ways you might not expect. Here's the science. Chicken is high in protein, and proteins change their structure when they're heated and cooled repeatedly. This process can make the protein harder to digest, leading to stomach upset, nausea, and digestive distress. For an elderly person whose digestive system may already be more sensitive, this can mean hours of discomfort. But there's an even more serious concern. Bacteria like Salmonella can survive improper reheating, especially when you're using a microwave. You see, microwaves heat unevenly. They create hot spots and cold spots, and those cold spots are where bacteria can continue to thrive even when the rest of the food seems hot. I've seen families rush their elderly loved ones to the hospital with severe food poisoning, not understanding how it happened. The chicken seemed hot, it smelled fine, but the bacteria were still there, waiting to cause problems. The misconception that causes so much trouble is this: as long as it's hot, it's safe. But hot in a microwave doesn't mean evenly heated. It doesn't mean bacteria-free. It just means some parts of the food have reached a high temperature. So, how do you safely reheat chicken? Always use the stovetop, not the microwave. Heat it slowly and evenly until it's steaming hot throughout. Stir it frequently to ensure even heating. And if you're not sure it's heated properly, don't take the risk. The few minutes it takes to heat it properly could prevent days of illness. And lastly, let's talk about a popular comfort food with hidden risks that might surprise you. Food number 5. Reheated mushrooms. David thought he was being thoughtful when he saved mushroom soup for his elderly mother. She loved mushrooms, and he knew she'd appreciate not having to cook the next day. So he carefully stored the soup in the refrigerator, and the next evening he reheated it gently and served it with love. But within hours, his mother was complaining of an upset stomach and what she described as brain fog, feeling confused and disoriented. Could mushrooms really cause this? The answer is yes, they absolutely can. Mushrooms contain complex proteins that are very different from other vegetables. These proteins are delicate and degrade rapidly once the mushrooms are cooked. When you reheat mushroom dishes, those degraded proteins can produce toxins that cause digestive issues, and in sensitive individuals, especially older adults, they can even cause neurological symptoms like confusion, memory problems, and disorientation. Think about how concerning this is for an elderly person. Brain fog and confusion can be symptoms of serious conditions like dementia or stroke. Imagine the panic, the worry, the unnecessary medical tests and doctor visits, all because of reheated mushrooms. The misconception that trips people up is this: vegetable-based soups are the safest leftovers. It sounds logical, doesn't it? Vegetables are healthy, soup is gentle on the stomach. But when those vegetables are mushrooms, the rules change completely. Mushrooms are unique in the plant kingdom. They're not actually vegetables, they're fungi, and they behave differently than other foods when they're stored and reheated. Their proteins break down faster, their cellular structure changes more dramatically, and they can become harmful in ways that lettuce or carrots never could. So what's the safe approach? Only reheat mushroom dishes once and consume them within 24 hours of cooking. If you're even slightly unsure about how long they've been stored, throw them out. It's not worth the risk of making your loved ones sick. And remember, for elderly individuals, even mild food poisoning can lead to serious complications like dehydration, electrolyte imbalances, and hospitalizations. I know this might feel overwhelming. It's hard to imagine that the food you lovingly reheat for your elderly parent or spouse could be doing more harm than good. Maybe you're thinking about all the times you've reheated these exact foods, feeling a mix of guilt and worry. But I want you to take a deep breath and know that your awareness right now in this moment could be the one thing that protects them moving forward. Think about your loved one for a moment. Think about their smile when you bring them a warm meal, their gratitude for your care, their trust in you to keep them safe. They're depending on you, not just for love and companionship, but for their health and well-being. And the beautiful thing is, you're here, learning, growing, becoming the caregiver they deserve. This isn't about fear, it's about being smart and intentional. It's about understanding that caring for an elderly person requires a different level of attention than we might have needed in the past. Their bodies are more vulnerable, their immune systems less resilient, their ability to recover from illness diminished. But that doesn't make them fragile, it makes them precious. A few small changes in the kitchen can drastically improve your loved one's health and quality of life. We're not talking about massive lifestyle overhauls or expensive medical treatments. We're talking about simple awareness, thoughtful food handling, and the kind of love that pays attention to details. Take a moment today to check how you store and reheat leftovers, especially if you're caring for someone older. Look at what's in your refrigerator right now. Think about your habits, your routines, your assumptions about food safety. These choices matter more than you might think. You're not alone in this journey. Caring for an elderly loved one can feel isolating, overwhelming, like you're making it up as you go along. But with each video you watch, each piece of information you learn, each conscious choice you make, you're creating a safer, more loving environment for the people who once cared for you. They changed your diapers, fed you when you couldn't feed yourself, stayed up all night when you were sick. Now it's your turn to protect them, to be their advocate, to make sure they're safe and well cared for. And you're doing it. You're here, you're learning, you're growing into the caregiver they need. Let me quickly recap what we've covered today, because I want to make sure you have all the information you need to keep your loved ones safe. The 5 foods you should be extra cautious about reheating are spinach, rice, potatoes, chicken, and mushrooms. Each of them can become harmful if not stored or reheated properly, and for elderly individuals, the consequences can be serious. Spinach can form cancer-causing compounds when reheated. Rice can harbor bacteria that cause severe food poisoning. Potatoes can develop botulism. Chicken can become hard to digest and harbor dangerous bacteria. And mushrooms can produce toxins that cause both digestive and neurological symptoms. But remember, this isn't about never eating these foods again. It's about being smart about how you handle them, how you store them, and how you reheat them. It's about understanding that caring for an elderly person requires extra attention to food safety. Which of these surprised you the most? I'm genuinely curious. Was it the spinach? The rice? The mushrooms? Have you ever felt sick after eating leftovers, or watched a loved one struggle with what seemed like a simple stomach bug? Share your story in the comments below. I read every single one, and your experience might help another family avoid the same problems. If you found this information helpful, I'd be honored if you'd hit that subscribe button and join our Elder Wisdom family. We're a community of people who care deeply about aging gracefully and living better. We talk about real, practical health tips that you can use in your daily life. We share our experiences, our worries, our successes, and our love for the elderly people in our lives. This is about more than just food safety. It's about creating a network of people who understand that caring for aging loved ones is both a privilege and a responsibility. It's about supporting each other through the challenges and celebrating the moments of joy. Thank you for being here today. Thank you for caring enough to learn, to grow, to become better at this incredibly important job of caring for others. Stay informed, stay kind, and take care of your loved ones with wisdom and heart. Your family is lucky to have someone who cares as much as you do. I'm always here with more insights, more tips, more support for this journey we're on together. I'll see you in the next video, where we'll continue to explore how to create the safest, most loving environment for the people we cherish most. Until then, take care and remember, every small choice you make in the kitchen is an act of love.